This is actually a question for Bill and Derek. Knowing what you know now, what would you actually like more level of development on, and what would you consider not necessary to have such a high level of development?
You mean level of detail? Is
Yeah.
that the question?
Level of detail in which sense?
Well, you mentioned spooling, so obviously, drops for your air handling units, you'd want maybe more detail. But, for example, long runs down a corridor, you could just show with a line as opposed to a pipe.
Yeah, correct. You wouldn't be spooling long lines down corridors and that, but there is an awful lot of stuff that we, in hindsight, looking back, that we probably could have spent time and spooled that we didn't do. We ended up doing it on site. It's a matter of time. Derek was pretty busy in those 4 mechanical rooms, so we didn't really spool a whole lot outside of the mechanical rooms, but we could have.
More toward this, and then the second question, more towards coordination aspect. What I'm currently running into right now is basically a sanitary vent, basic gravity-based piping, the stuff that goes in first. If that's not really coordinated with all the other trades, everyone, it just destroys coordination because everyone else has to work around what just went in.
You bring a good point up because the plumbing was not BIM'd on this project. So
during the design stage.
So you would have preferred if more detail had been put into that plumbing?
Definitely, if the more trades and the more key elements that are involved, and then the less scope for error. I mean, like Bill said, there was zero. Well, I won't say zero. There may have been.
there's some of the risers were done, but let's call it the spaghetti piping on the floors, which is where you're getting all your conflicts. There was a detail that said the plumbing will be from here to here, but where it went, you had to fit it around everything else. So it really couldn't go in first because it would 9 times out of 10 clash with something else, and it was the plumbing that moved, not the HVAC.
So you actually put your plumbing in afterwards?
We probably moved a fair bit of plumbing, but we tried to look at it up front to see what the best route was. We did a lot of pre-inserting prior to running any piping. And
how much of that did you actually use?
A good portion of it. I was quite happy with what the guys did on the pre-inserting.
But yeah, that was one of the lessons learned when we said the early involvement of key players. We didn't want to get too specific, but plumbing in design was lagging behind just because the suite of Revit was not developed enough. I know Derek had to roll his sleeve and towards the end of design into construction to do it on his own and trying to keep up with the guys, as you said, on site. And that's definitely a big lessons learned for us, that we don't make concessions with plumbing moving forward. Because you're absolutely right.
I'm living it.